and thank you for joining Carrie Rios and myself, Amber Tripp, on our very first inaugural podcast series for Clark College Community and Continuing Education. We really wanted to celebrate and kind of interrogate our amazing instructors because we wanted to know more about them and the classes that they are teaching, because some of them I'm like, I don't know what that means. So we wanted to make sure that we knew and that you knew what it was all about and give you the face of our instructors or the voice of our instructors, however you're hearing this. So let me have you introduce yourself, Christi, with your name and the classes that you teach at Clark College CCE, if you don't mind.
Thanks so much, Amber. So I'm Christi Krug, and I have been teaching wildfire writing since 1997 at Clark College. And it's just a delight to have been able to witness all the different faces, all the different changes, the different incarnations at Clark College, but then also the transformation of my own class and what I can do with it. And now being able to teach it online is really exciting because that was never even in our minds in 1997.
Well, sure, because I think we barely had email back then. I mean, I was in college.
All right, Amber, that's enough.
I remember that because I was in college. I was like, hold on a second. We don't have to go to the one computer in the one hallway anymore. We can actually go to the computer lab with this. What? So, yeah, dating myself too.
No problem. That's all right then.
So I have a question for you, and just so everybody else knows, Christi actually has several classes that we teach. She teaches wildfire writing, yoga, body and mind writing workshop series, and get published class. So we have a lot of topic to cover here, but I really wanted to, because when I hear wildfire writing, we're not going to go visit a wildfire and write about it, right? That's not what it is.
No, but I've kept that name through, some serious wildfire seasons like last year and the Creek Fire in 2017. But I've kept it because it's a class really about learning how to deal with the sort of destructive aspect of writing. And it really feeds into all the other things that I do and and vice versa. The other things that I do have fed into that. So the class is really about a way to approach writing when you feel critical, when you feel inadequate, when you have writer's block, when you just don't know what to say, and all the critical and frustrating aspects of it. I've taken lots of writing classes about the writing itself, but not how to approach it. Okay. And so it's been transformational, and I'm probably going on a bit too long, but I love it. And And after working with the writers, and I can tell you in a minute how it all started, but after working with the writers and seeing the principles working, then I created a book about that, and it's about the creative process, and it was really using a lot of things in the class as well. So that's Burn Wild, A Writer's Guide to Creative Breakthrough. Okay. And that came out a few years ago. And so, it just keeps flowing, teaching me things. And then it's really exciting when writers say, wow, this has changed my life. And many people have said that.
Okay. So that gives me more insight. So it's really a class about getting over those hurdles that you face when you're in the writing process.
It is. And we do explore, it's a 5-phase process. So we do learn to, expand and develop and really refine our work. So there are lots of discussions about technique and, writing in a strong voice and how to learn that and how to learn your own voice. But really the major thing is developing the right mindset to do it in. And that's what the class is about.
Awesome. I love that. And thank you for explaining that, because I think that even though there's a little synopsis of the class on our website, it doesn't really explain, fully what it is. And I wanted to get some more insight on that. So like I say, well, this is it. Like if you're struggling with any of these things with writing in your process, check out this class.
Well, Amber, can I tell you how it started?
Yes, please do.
I'm
all ears.
I was one of these people that always loved to write. Like as a kid, people would give me these beautiful, blank notebooks, and I'd be like, great. And I'd like write one line. I'd be like, that's stupid. Write another line, like cross that out. I'd tear out the pages and throw them away and have this blank notebook. And that went on for years and years. And then I kind of went through I did some reading, and it was sort of inadvertent, and I started discovering these other books about a different way to write and a different way to approach your right brain. Books like Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, believe it or not, a book about drawing. Other things really about how to access this different part of your brain and a mode that makes it easy. And I was like, wow. So I used that. I started getting published. I started getting my articles read by people all over the world in big magazines with lots of subscriptions and everything. And I was like, wow. And then I felt like, what? Should I be keeping this to myself?
You shouldn't.
Yeah, it made such a huge difference for me. And maybe it would make sense to other people too. So I kind of developed the process a little more and worked with it. And then in 1997, I just came to Clark and I said, I have this idea, but I don't know. I'm not a teacher and I'm not a scholar and I don't know much. I just get my writing published and I love it. And so anyway, when the first class rolled out, people were like, wow, I've never been in a class like this. And that was it. I wanted to do this always, along with the writing.
Yeah, no, I love that story. I had a question and then I lost it because I was so into what you were talking about. So maybe it'll come back, but thank you for sharing that, because I think that's really important for people to understand that you went through the process. And so in that process, you figured out how to share that with other people and help them through the process. So I was envisioning, as my picture brain was envisioning your blank notebook with all the crumpled up pieces of paper all over the floor. Such a movie mental image right there.
Exactly. Well, and go ahead. I was just going to say that there is a big tie-in to yoga because it's very similar. So when I started practicing yoga, I didn't realize it was going to tie in perfectly, but it's not being athletic, not being good enough. My body isn't right. All these critical thoughts. I was like, I know exactly what to do with this. I'm going to use my process that I've used in writing. Sure enough, same transformation. And then I became a yoga teacher. And so then I in some occasions, even in some classrooms, we'll do some breathing and some exercises. Don't worry, we don't make you get up on a mat in the middle of the class without any, forewarning or anything. But they really do flow together, a way to be with yourself, listen to yourself, and move. Who would not want to feel that good?
I mean, give me a cup of coffee and I'm probably pretty good. But that ties us right into the next little bit that I want to kind of pick your brain on, the Body and Mind Writing Workshop Series. So when I was talking to Carrie about this, I'm just going to give you my thought process on this. You're going to be like, that's not it at all, Amber. I was like, Carrie, what are we doing? Like, we're going to be in downward dog and we're going to be like having to write a little thing on our notebook. Like, what? So, like, set my mind right. Let me get a better picture. What is body and mind writing?
Sure, Amber. Well, again, I really am not strong on using the term yoga, but these are ideas and principles that are from practicing yoga as well as writing, seeing how they dovetail. And really, it's just as we write, we're sitting at our table, we've got our notebook, and we become aware of our bodies. So then maybe we do get up every half an hour or hour, and we're going to have intervals, and we do a little bit of stretching, and we notice the sensations, and we just really make it a yummy, amazing experience. And we've got music, and we've got a setting and an atmosphere and support around us. So then we go to write, and it's a completely different experience. It's really personal writing. The Body and Mind Writing Workshop series is really for you. You discover things about yourself. You suddenly feel alive. You suddenly might tap into some difficult memory, but then once you've done that, there's like this power because you're not hiding from it anymore. So there's a lot of ways that our breathing, our movement, and they're going to be simple movements. I had an injury during the pandemic. Like, oh, great, thanks. But I mean, the timing was funny because I wasn't going to be able to teach yoga anyway in that way. So I'm excited to be coming back to this with that. And if you're a writer, great. If you're not a writer, great. You don't need to be. If you're a yoga person, great. If you've never done it before, that's fine. It's perfect.
Okay, cool. So if you're the writing side of it, is it like journaling, or could you be writing like the inner chapters to your next book?
You could. People do. I have one writer. I have one writer who's been in my Clark College classes for almost 10 years. And, back and forth, because I make it so that you can take it again and again. Yeah. And whatever assignment I give, I know that this writer is going to turn it into a story. And we make a joke about it because I'll give the class the assignment and I'll say, all except for, let's say I'll call him Larry. All except for Larry. Larry, you'll do your own thing. But seriously, you do write what is in your heart, how it shows up. For a lot of people, they're going to connect to things that feel more here and now. But it's not required.
Sure. So let me, I've got like a gazillion things racing around my brain right now. So let me dial into a couple of them. So I'm getting kind of from these series of different classes, the Wildfire Writing, the Yoga, the Body and Mind Writing Workshop series, and then we have Get Published class, which is, we'll talk about that in a minute. So all of these classes, it seems like they open you up. They allow you to find those little demons inside that you need to address or write about, or however you want to do that. And then they create, maybe the Body and Mind Writing Workshop creates that environment where you can actually do some writing, where you're at peace and you're flowing and your body is feeling good. Because I think that a lot of times when we're trying to write and have a mental block, because sometimes I do for writing copy, it's not, it's just copy. But if I like stand up, walk around, and come back, it gets my body flowing, and so that I'm more relaxed and maybe have some energy going to my brain, possibly. Yeah. So is that kind of, am I hitting on a little bit of it, or am I?
You know what, Amber? Take the class.
Which one?
Anyone. You have to experience it, because we can talk about how that might work, but until you actually have like a guided person helping you really connect it, and you're in this, there's something about the magic of the synergy of being in the space together and everything. It's very intuitive, and there's an element I just couldn't really put into words. Okay. There is when you're thinking about your writing, Amber, though, and you might enjoy this just for yourself. If you've heard of the book A Wrinkle in Time,
yep.
Author Madeleine L'Engle,
yep.
At a conference years ago, she said, the mind doesn't write, the hand writes. And this was 30 years ago, and I was like, what is she talking about? When you have an embodied writing experience and you are guided in this way, you get it.
Okay.
And I didn't do that. My body did that.
Ah, okay. So it's different. Yeah, Carrie's like, what just happened?
It's pretty great.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out how to help people understand about the class. That's why I'm asking all these questions, and
Sure.
Not just for me, but for anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
So they can get an idea of what this actually means and how does it apply to them. So my question for you, I have a couple. Who are these classes designed for? Who would be the perfect person to jump in?
That's a great question. So I was thrilled when it first started. I was hoping for beginners, and I was hoping for people who maybe, like me, had always loved writing and maybe secretly felt like writers, but that couldn't even get themselves to say it out loud. I'm a writer. And yeah, right. So people that I call them closet writers. And I feel like they're still out there. And there's often that feeling that I do think I can write. I do think I'm good at this. I have great stories, but there's something in the way. There are all these thoughts, there are these bad experiences. Some writers have had some really bad experiences. They've had writing rejected in a way that just felt awful. Others have had people steal their journals and read their journal, and just all kinds of things that blocked and that told them, no, let's not do this. I can't do this. So it's really, if you feel that in another life, this could have been you, or you'd like to try it, we will help you find that. And seriously, it's just like magic. I had an engineer in the class who said he hadn't felt like this since he was a kid. Like, wow. You're working with numbers and working with this and working with that, and everything was black and white. And then suddenly his imagination was working, and he was just wonderful to watch. And that kind of story has happened again and again and again.
Wow. Yeah, that gives so much good insight. I mean, that really opens my mind to other possibilities. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. So if you had like one or two things to say about somebody who's considering that they're on the fence, they're like, I don't know if it's just for me, I'm kind of there, but I'm kind of not. Is there like something that you would say to get them over to just say, yeah, I just got to do it?
I would say it's much easier than you think. Being in the space together and getting the support. I know it's terrifying, and I know it's terrifying for many reasons, but this is, once you experience it, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel safe. And that's what all my students have said through the years. One of them used to call me Mr. Rogers, and just like, oh, you just make me feel so good. And then, but the sneaky part of that is when you feel relaxed and comfortable, it's amazing what you can do. So I'm guessing that the number one, and really what I experienced, the number one excuse, it's time, it's this, it's that, it's money, it's fear, it's scary.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that vulnerable again. And I'm just saying to you, I get it. I so get it. We do this incrementally, and we do this in a way that feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. So safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when your students have come through the end of the class, what did they get out of it? Like, have they?
Oh, I tell you what they get out of it. People who have never been able to say I'm a writer, they're like, I'm a writer. Well, I'm a writer. I'm a writer, and so I'm writing, and they come back, which is awesome. One of my favorite things. They most of the people in the class have taken the class before. And we have new and different ways of experiencing the same phases. Similar to if you go to a yoga class, you don't say to yourself, oh, now I know yoga. Okay, I'll never be back. No, you go in to experience it again and again and again. So it's really an experience. So that's fantastic when I hear people say, wow, now they're confident. They know it's not perfect, but they have some support when they get those negative thoughts and rejections and so forth.
Yeah, and then they can jump right into get published, which is
exactly that's what that's for. Yeah, the nuts and bolts. Yeah.
Now we're finally over here. So then, the get published class that just literally teaches them how to get published. The processes.
Yeah, the get published class is really about, here is a machine you can make. So it's very different. I think of the writing in the other classes is very organic. They're creatures, they're beings, they're alive. A garden, but this is a machine. But it's a fun machine, and it's how to put it together and how to create a system. And you know what? Marketing is just, as you probably know, working in marketing, it's it occurs to me, is just about getting yourself out there, getting it out in a systemized way, again and again and again, being willing to hear no. And I really love separating the Get Published class separating it completely from the wildfire writing class, because you can have a beautiful personal writing practice that has nothing to do with getting published.
Sure.
It's fun to get published. I love it.
Yeah.
I have a new story coming out in Saturday Evening Post.
Oh, you do? Awesome.
Yeah, I really believe in making time for your own writing and making time to share it with the world.
Yeah. Well, I guess getting published would really validate all the effort that you put into yourself, really, your work and who you are and who you discovered through the process.
It really does. And, just reminding yourself that even though ultimately, initially, you're doing this for you, as you get more and more confident, you have something to give to the world. And that completes the circle.
And there it is, the circle of life, right there. Well, Christi, do you have any other things you would like to, any other little tidbits you would like to share?
I just want to encourage people that, the distance learning, it's different. It's not what we had live, but it has some advantages. And I think that screens and being, facing each other on a screen can be challenging. So we do a lot in the distance learning classes where we are away from the screen, we turn off the video, where we really kind of help your brain, because it can overactivate the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex.
Okay. Yeah, that part of the brain.
So you really want to calm that down. So distance learning is different, but you know what? It's available right now, and there's a lot of benefit. There's a lot of benefit.
Yeah, you can put a bag over your head essentially by turning off your screen, which you probably wouldn't do in class. Excuse me, I'm just gonna put a bag over my head now because I'm feeling uncomfortable. Nope, just turn off the screen. It's brilliant.
In your pajamas.
Yeah, be comfy.
Be comfortable. Yeah, and there's a lot of advantage. You can have your own space, which can be very, very inspiring sometimes and calming. So yeah, there's a lot.
Awesome. Hey, really quick, I wanted to just touch on the right brain, left brain thing, because just refresh my memory, which side of the brain is which? The right versus the left?
Sure. Well, it's actually not a black and white science. It's not really completely divided down the middle. That was the original thinking. But we tend to still kind of use those terms. And the right brain is associated with story, image, emotion, idea, big picture. It's a really childlike part of you. And I call it the dream kid, because the dream kid is full of dreams and loves stories. And you get in an overnight with a bunch of little kids, and they're going to tell stories and they're going to talk. Now, Dr. Codger is the critic. Dr. Codger is what I associate with the left brain, and very good at language, which is very tricky. Because you need language, but you need the dream kid. So how do you work these two together? Yeah. So the left brain is good at correcting, refining, decision-making, being on time, like we all were for our appointment today. However, the left brain does not create. Okay. Well, don't get very far without the dream kid. So these two parts of you need to work together, and I'm going to teach you how to do that.
Awesome. Because I think my right brain is, sometimes I feel like it's shrinking. Although I did have a really good idea for this podcast thing. That was probably right brain all the way.
Yeah.
And it was also on time, which was left brain. So I guess they're working in synergy. That's good. It's good. Thank you, Christi. You just made me feel better about myself today.
Excellent. Thank you, Amber.
Yeah. So I love these. This is great. This is great information, because I had no clue going into this what any of this was going to be. I know yoga, that's about it. But the rest of it, so I really appreciate you really explaining how it works and the process and the why somebody would want to do it and what you get out of it in the end, or could get out of it in the end. So I really appreciate you taking that time to do that for us today. It's really awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, so if you would like to take Christi Krug's class or classes, or all of them, or maybe one repeated, you can sign up for all of her classes: Wildfire Writing, Yoga, Body and Mind Writing Workshop Series, and the Get Published class are all online at cce.clark.edu. Make sure you click on classes and you'll find them right in there. I think they're mostly under writing. So just check those out, or you can call 360-992-2939 and someone will help you register. You'll find the most up-to-date information on the classes, the wheres, the whens, the hows, the cost, everything like that on the website. So if you have any questions about that, you can just check on the website or give that number a call. And once again, I just really want to thank you, Christi, for being here today and sharing your story and being so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, thanks, Amber, and thank you, Carrie.
We will see you in Christi's class, and for now, ciao.